It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
Hi there, MrJohn here, and today we're going to review one of my favorite games of 2020, the game being Doom Eternal. Developed by id Software and published by Bethesda and released on March 21st, 2020, it's a sequel to the 2016 game Doom, which is my game of the decade by the way. Since the game was so good that, to put it bluntly, it was partying like the 90s, and this sequel delivers twice the fun that its predecessor had. But to elaborate about why Doom Eternal is awesome, I need to talk about why it's so good, so let's get into it. The story takes place after the events of Doom 2016. The Earth has been overrun by demonic forces, which actually resembles the plot of Doom 2, Hell on Earth. The population has been wiped out. Doomslayer, who has been portrayed by Samuel Hayden, he now lives in a satellite fortress controlled by the AI Vega to stop the demonic invasion by killing the three Hell Priests, the Ags Nilox, Ranek, and Grav. These priests serve an evil angelic being known as Khanmaker, who wants to sacrifice mankind, not to mention resurrecting the icon of sin, and Doomslayer has to stop them at any costs. Anyways, so how's the gameplay? I gotta say it's the best gameplay I've ever seen since its predecessor Doom 2016. Everything that could have been improved was improved, and it shows. The gameplay is much more faster and tighter than ever before. You jump, run, and shoot. However, the game adds a lot of new elements like wall climbing, which actually is not a bad idea in a Doom game. There's also horizontal bars so that you can swing to reach new areas, but my favorite addition of the game is the ability to dash. And oh boy, this element makes Doom 2016 look like dog shit. I'm not fucking joking. This makes the battle so much more strategic and more flexible. Sure, you can only dash twice and it has to cool down, but still it's a freaking godsend. Especially in Doom 2016, the movement was pretty limited compared to Doom Eternal. And don't get me wrong, Doom 2016 is still an awesome game to play, but I feel like Doom Eternal new mechanics makes the game so much better, and it's not just the new mechanics that are included in the game. There's also new enemies in the game. Sure, the imps, cacodemons, revenants do return, but there's new kids on the block, such as Anarachnotron, who has a turret that can roast the player in no time, pain elementals that are still annoying, but not as annoying like in Doom 2, gargoyles who are just like imps but they can fly, the Dread Knight who has two blades that can kill the player with ease, the Carcass who can summon a shield, the Whiplash who can crawl and slash the Doomslayer with its blades and fire Argent energy waves, the Tyrant who is a small version of the Cyber Demon but is still lethal nevertheless. And also, the Archvile makes its return, and while not as aggravating as in the original games, it's still a pretty dangerous opponent as it can summon a group of demons to attack the player. Not to mention that these demons are much stronger. It's like they are under effect of the buff totem. And there's the Maker drones as they can shoot yellow light at the player, and also the Doom Hunter, which is a complete menace unless if you know what you're doing. But then there's an enemy that it's the most controversial in the game, the Marauder.
Opening the portal now.
You were never one of us. You were nothing but a usurper, a false idol. My eyes have been opened. Let me help you to see, Slayer.
I don't know why people say that this jerk is hard to kill. But for me, I didn't think that the Marauder was that hard to kill. Unless you're a game journalist of course, but still if you follow his attack patterns, you will defeat him in no time. Which brings us to my next point. Most of the enemies have weaknesses. For instance, you can actually destroy the Arachnotron's turret by using shotgun sticky bombs, which makes it easy to kill. And also you can actually stick the shotgun's bombs into the Cacodemon's gaping maw, which will result in an immediate stagger, allowing for an easy glory kill. This makes the battles much more dynamic and strategic, making the player using his weapon in a more strategic way. Speaking of weapons, there's new weapons that the player can use. The shotgun, the super shotgun aka meat hook shotgun, the chainsaw and the chain gun are back, but new weapons include the ballista, the Unmaker, the Doomblade and the Crucible. The ballista is a weapon that acts more like the Gauss cannon in Doom 2016. It fires a pinpoint accuracy single shot, not to mention it deals bonus damage to flying enemies like the gargoyles. The Crucible acts more like the chainsaw, as it can instantly kill any demon minus the marauders. It can store up to 3 charges at a time, so use it wisely and use it on bigger enemies like the tyrants or the archviles. The Unmaker is only obtainable if you acquire the 6 Empyrean keys, which you obtain them by completing Slayer challenges. This weapon is pretty effective at close to mid-range, and it's pretty useful against larger demons like the Mancubus. It's more of an alternative version of the BFG 9000, given that they share the same ammunition.
But wait! There's more!
The weapons in Doom Eternal have lots of upgrades. Most of the weapons have 2 mods to choose from. For example, with the combat shotgun, you could choose either the Sticky Bomb mod or the full auto mod. The Sticky Bomb mod allows you to fire bombs from your shotgun to deal a lot of damage at long range, whereas the full auto mod turns the shotgun into a machine gun that could devastate strong opponents, although it chews through ammo quickly. Not only that, but when you get all the upgrades of your weapon mods, you unlock a mastery challenge that grants you a very useful perk, and if you complete a mastery challenge, for instance, with the super shotgun, which has a useful meat hook, if you kill enough amount of enemies while grappled onto them, your meat hook will be upgraded and will set enemies on fire, causing armor drops if blasted with a super shotgun. The weapon mods makes the battles pretty strategic, and they can be useful in whatever situation you are in, and I love it. There's also the equipment launcher that you can get in the middle of the game, which has 3 types of ordnance: fire, ice, and grenade. The flame belch shoots a plume of fire which sets enemies on fire and drop armor points when shot with other weapons. The ice bomb is pretty useful as it freezes enemies for a brief time and they can be shattered with the super shotgun. And last but not least, the frag grenade is, to be honest, not that great compared to the other 2, however it has some uses as it's able to wipe out lower class demons in a single burst and is pretty effective in groups. The launcher is pretty fun to use, especially if you use the flame belch on the enemies followed by the ice bomb and then shatter them with your super shotgun and getting free armor. It has been seen to be believed and is freaking genius. The difficulty in Doom Eternal is hard, but not that hard. I've played the game on Ultra Violence and I thought it wasn't as hard as I thought. I did a few times, but these were so few and far between, and then I played the Nightmare difficulty and oh boy, that was the precious challenge that I wanted. It was pretty challenging, but I loved it, since beating a level in that difficulty feels so rewarding. I died more than in Ultra Violence, but still, I managed to brute force with my skills. The final boss was insane on Nightmare difficulty. I died a lot, but I didn't give up. I've learned from my mistakes and managed to beat it. It should also be worth mentioning that there is the Ultra Nightmare mode, which you have to beat the single player campaign without dying once. If you die, you have to start the campaign all over again. And I played it and it was rough, man. During the gameplay, you can also get extra lives, which will save you in a pinch, and while it makes the game easier, but not by much, as it differs from person to person, I personally don't mind the inclusion of extra lives. These things can be found in secret areas, and speaking of secret areas, Doom Eternal has a lot of secrets in every level, ranging from collectibles like albums and toys to Sentinel batteries and Predator tokens. It's really rewarding when you find these secrets, and these collectibles will be stored in your hub world. Doom Eternal has a hub world. Every time you complete the level, you will return to the hub world because of plot, and there you can enter to the training chamber to test your skills and also select any level you want after you beat the game. The hub world also has unlockables. You can unlock these extra chambers by obtaining Sentinel batteries that can unlock these rooms. They either contain Predator tokens, extra costumes, and Sentinel crystals, which will allow you, the player, to select between health, armor, and ammo upgrades. 4 of each attached to 6 perks. This makes the player much more powerful than ever before. Predator tokens allows you to upgrade your suit, for example be immune to barrel explosions, dashing faster, or swinging faster, you name it. Some upgrades require more Predator tokens, so there's that. The runes do make a return in Doom Eternal. This time around, they are found by exploring the environment. There are many runes to choose from. For example, there's a rune that can increase movement control while in the air, which is pretty useful, and there's another rune that allows you to slow time while you're mid-air. The level design in Doom Eternal is pretty bonkers, and it has a lot of versatility more than in Doom 2016. They are much longer and harder than ever before, and the attention to detail is so damn good. It feels like I'm playing a very good sequel with lots of quality of life improvements, and it shows. The gunplay feels so responsive and satisfying, as every shot feels pretty impactful. Not to mention the glory kills are so good to watch. It's very pleasing to see a demon getting wrecked by a freaking slayer. How cool is that? Also, there's the blood punches, which can help you in a pinch, and it's pretty useful for wiping out lower tier enemies. It has limited use, but you can recharge it by doing glory kills to the enemies. The Slayer Gates are mini challenges that provide intense encounters, as there are enemies that usually appear in later levels, but appear much earlier in the Slayer Gate challenges. If you're good enough, and if you complete all the challenges, you will unlock the Unmaker, so get good if you want to obtain that weapon. Also, there are cheats that you can obtain through floppy disks that are scattered in some levels. These include but not limited to God Mode, All Ammo, Infinite Ammo, etc. If you collect them all, you can play the original Doom, and if you put a password, you can also play Doom 2 Hell on Earth. How cool is that? 3 games in 1. Great job, id Software. Great job. There is also multiplayer, but it's not deathmatch, but rather a new mode named Battle Mode. In this mode, there are 2 demons and 1 slayer, and the demons have to kill the slayer or vice versa. To me, it's an okay mode, nothing special, but not bad either. It's just, for me, I'm not that in multiplayer games, but it's still fun nevertheless. Graphically, Doom Eternal runs under the id Tech 7 engine. Visually, it looks pretty gorgeous, one of the prettiest games in 2020. The atmosphere, the lightning, the textures, and the shadows look pretty damn good. Not only that, it actually runs pretty well on my PC. On my PC, which has an i5 4690K and a GTX 1060, 6GB of VRAM, I can run this game at 100 frames per second or even higher. And I had no frame rate issues or even crashes whatsoever. Well done, guys. Well done. The soundtrack was composed by Mick Gordon, who also composed the soundtrack of Doom 2016, and hot damn, the soundtrack is so damn good. If I describe how great the soundtrack is, I would say that the soundtrack of Doom Eternal is just as great as fucking hentai, and we all know how good hentai is, so I don't need to tell you that. The soundtrack packs a lot of heavy metal adrenaline, and it shows, and I feel like without the soundtrack, the game would feel empty as the music is pretty important to the action. The sound effects are pretty damn good, as every weapon sounds feels so amazing, and every monster grunt sounds so badass and creepy. They did an amazing job on the sound effects, and it shows. Also, the voice acting is decent for the most part. I like the voice of Samuel Hayden with his meme catchphrases, and Con Maker's voice isn't too shabby either.
You can't just shoot a hole into the surface of Mars.
You, a human, once a mortal, to defy our traditions.
Overall, the voice acting is pretty decent, not bad at all. At the end of the day, Doom Eternal is not only the best game of the year, but also one of the best games I ever played since Gran Turismo 4 and Duke Nukem 3D. And I feel like I don't need to tell you that. Doom Eternal is freaking awesome, and if heaven exists, this is what it is. Doom Eternal is fucking heaven. So what are you waiting for? Buy it! Now that the anti-cheat software is removed, this game is a must buy. You won't be disappointed. It's a sequel that I wanted, a sequel that improved upon the original, and it delivers. Good job, id Software. You deserve a big fucking platinum medal. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you liked this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. I'll see you guys next time.